staff and assigned it to Republicans and signed arrest warrants for us, that very committee is now controlled, is not controlled by either party. It's 3 Democrats and 3 Republicans. 16 Republicans and 16 Democrats in the Senate. So what that means is for the first time in I don't know how long, we have to have a power sharing agreement where nothing can move forward unless both Senator Miller and Senator Fitzgerald agree, which is actually a really good start. When I think about the future, I have to say I draw a little bit of inspiration from a governor that came from not very far from here and was on the other side of the aisle, and that's Tommy Thompson. Now, Tommy Thompson did a lot of bad things as far as the spending and the budget decisions he made, but one of the things he did very well was to work across the aisle. He did some amazing things. For example, he took and asked Senator Cullen, a Democrat, to be the Secretary of Health. Now, I think that there are some wise people among the Republican Party, and I think it's entirely possible that if I became governor, some of those wise Republican people would actually become part of my administration. That would give an interesting dilemma if you think about those seats coming open in either the Assembly or the Senate, which is exactly what Tommy Thompson did. He opened up seats by taking Democrats and offering them positions in his administration that were then taken by Republicans. I think maybe we could take a little bit of a lesson from him. Now that said, I also think that there are a number of Republicans that are very tired of the punishment that they have endured at the hands of the Fitzgerald brothers because they haven't always toed the line. There were a couple of things that happened in the last few days, last week in the Senate, that gave me some insight into the mind of some of my Senate Republican colleagues. First of all, everybody heard about what happened with the mining bill. How Senator Schultz and Senator Jauch worked together to put together a compromise, and we had a mining bill that was 180 pages, or 180 plus, and 140 plus of those pages were changes in environmental regulations, changes that the mine itself didn't even say that they wanted, and they put together a bill that was about 16 pages that respected the environment, respected the tribes, and gave the mine what it was asking for in terms of streamlining the permitting process. The possibility exists for compromise. But what might not be known about those last few days of the session is in the Senate there were 2 other bills that I can think of that were about ready to pass that had already passed the Assembly. One of them has to do with the oversight of road building. It has to do with whether or not there's a cost-benefit analysis required on whether or not engineering studies should be contracted out. And the Republican leaders wanted to do away with that information, that cost-benefit analysis on whether or not it was better to contract out or better to do it in-house. They didn't even want the information, which is wrong. It's one of the problems I was talking about when I was talking about contracts. If we don't even know, how can we possibly make any decisions about that? Senator Coles, who I work with a lot on the audit committee, said, I don't want to go there. I don't want to go there, and that bill died because he agreed with the Democrats to amend it, and they didn't like the way we amended it, which was to tighten it up. The second thing that happened is a bill that would have drained all of our public schools of more resources, a special education voucher bill, passed out of the Assembly and was ready to come to the Senate floor. This was a bill that I fought in the Senate Education Committee in about an 8-hour hearing. I was ready to go to the floor. I had a whole bunch of amendments. I was going to try and tell the world how terrible this bill was. This bill would allow private schools to take public money. These private schools would not have to provide services to the special education students. They wouldn't even be required to have licensed teachers. Senator Schultz, Senator Coles, Senator Ellis, I can't remember, there was one more, said we're not going to go there. The moderate senators on the Republican side said no. Because of the efforts right here in La Crosse to get Jennifer Schilling elected, it only took one person to say no for that bill to come right to a halt. And the moderate members of the Republican Party were empowered by that one vote per